Looking for some ways to use your leftover Halloween candy? Well, today we're looking at 3 fun and tasty uses for sweets leftover from spooky season. Hi there, foodie friends. My name is Carly and welcome back to my channel, Adventures in Yum. The first leftover Halloween candy treat is candy-loaded cookie bars. We start by chopping up the candy into little pieces. Here I'm using peanut M&Ms, regular M&Ms, some Reese's Cups, and some Snickers bars. I like to pair candy whose flavors go well together, so keep that in mind when making leftover candy treats. Because this flavor profile involves peanuts, I decided to also chop up some roasted and salted peanuts to balance out the sweetness of the candy. I'm working on a cookie bar recipe right now, but the current recipe that I use is an adapted version of Preppy Kitchen's cookie bars. Once the butter and sugar is completely creamed together, we add the eggs and vanilla and whip until combined. After adding the dry ingredients and mixing the dough together, we add our chopped candy pieces and peanuts. In total, we're adding about 12 ounces of mix-ins. Once that's fully mixed together, we add the dough to a parchment paper lined quarter sheet pan and press it down into an even layer. I added an optional light sprinkle of sea salt across the top as another way to balance out the sweetness of these cookie bars. Finally, we're adding some more candy to the top, so I chose these mini M&Ms. After we press the M&Ms into the top of the cookie bars to make sure that they stick, before baking, I like to cover and chill my cookie bars for at least a couple hours or overnight. Then we're ready to bake them, and then once they're completely cooled, we're going to cut them into squares. Baked goods like cookie bars are such a great way to use leftover candy. You can also make regular cookies, brownies, blondies, etc. These cookie bars are gooey and have a great flavor from the candy and peanuts. What kind of candy would you add to your cookie bars? The second leftover Halloween candy treat is dessert popcorn. We're starting by chopping up some Halloween candy. Here I'm using a couple of my favorite candy bars, Twix and Kit Kat, as well as some M&Ms. Once we're done, we set aside our candy toppings for now. Next, we're popping a bag of popcorn according to the bag's instructions. Once the popcorn is done, carefully open the bag and pour the popcorn into an even layer on a baking sheet to cool. This time, I actually split the bag in half to make a second version, which I'll be sharing in an upcoming shorts video. Don't forget to remove those kernels. To a piping bag, we add about a half a cup or so of melted chocolate or candy melt. Here I'm using Ghirardelli dark chocolate melting wafers. We drizzle a generous amount of the chocolate melt over the popcorn until every piece has some on top. Next, we're generously sprinkling our candy over the popcorn until every piece has some candy on it. We're then drizzling a little more of the chocolate melt over the top so that our candy toppings will stick to the popcorn a little better. We can then add an optional light sprinkle of sea salt as a way to balance the chocolate and candy that we're adding to the popcorn. After you let the candy melts completely set, about 5 minutes or so, we break the popcorn into pieces and large clusters, and you're ready to enjoy. This popcorn is a great salty sweet snack, especially when you're curling up on the couch to enjoy some movies. Before we look at our final idea, if you're getting value out of this video, then please make sure to hit that like button, click subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified about my latest video. The third leftover Halloween candy treat is candy corn caramel sauce. To a medium-sized saucepan, we add 1 cup or about 160 grams of chopped candy corn pieces and a quarter cup or about 59 milliliters of water into a medium-sized saucepan, and then we place that on medium-high heat on the stove. While the pan heats up, we stir occasionally to make sure that the candy corn fully dissolves into the water. Once the candy corn pieces are dissolved, the water will begin to evaporate, and we let the candy corn vigorously bubble. We continue to stir the melted candy corn and cook for approximately 5 minutes before removing it from the stove. It should kind of look like a syrup like this when we're ready to take it off. We now add a quarter cup or about 59 milliliters of heavy whipping cream and 3/4 cup or about 1.5 sticks or 165 grams of unsalted butter to the candy corn. As always, when adding cold cream and or butter to a hot sugary base, please be careful. We place this mixture back on the stove on a medium heat and cook for an additional 1 to 2 minutes while stirring constantly. This will allow the butter to fully melt and combine with the candy corn mixture. We remove the pot from the stove and add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and half a teaspoon of salt. Once thoroughly mixed, we carefully pour it into an airtight container. We then let it cool for about 20 to 30 minutes at room temperature, close the lid, and store in the refrigerator until ready to use. You can use this candy corn caramel sauce straight out of the fridge, but if you want it nice nice and thin like this for drizzling, pop it in the microwave for about 10 to 20 seconds or so. This sauce still has a slight candy corn taste, but it's more subtle and the vanilla nicely balances it out. Use it on top of ice cream, cupcakes, and other tasty treats. Let me know if you give any of these a try and how you like them. If you're interested in checking out some of the products I used in this video, then please make sure to check out that video description below for some of their Amazon links. Thank you so much for joining me today, foodie friends. I'll see you next time for another yummy adventure.